good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good looking people. If you're good looking, because you're always looking for and finding the good, and you found good in abundance because you tuned in consciously and conscientiously to Ion Las Vegas with your humble host, Barry Shore, the ambassador of joy. Notice I didn't say the ambassador of joy. It's the ambassador of joy. And you're here because you know that we talk about stuff that makes you happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? So I got to tell you, I'm privileged to speak to people all over the world. And I live in Henderson, Nevada. Whenever I mention two words, people lean in, open up their ears, say, tell me more. Las Vegas. This is a place of energy. This is a place of exploration. It's a place of high intensity love. And you're going to experience all of that just a few mere seconds from now. Just want to give you one little data point about Las Vegas. It's so interesting to me. If you take the entire population of the city of New York and everybody around it, the entire population of Chicago and everybody around it, and the entire population of Los Angeles and everybody around it, all add them up all together, it doesn't come to the number of people that come to Las Vegas in a single year. 41 million people come through here because it's a place that's resonating and not just gambling and sex. It's all about stuff that is good. And you're going to meet the ultimate stuff that is good being. His name is Dr. Don Coté. Don, please say hello to 511,613 people around the world.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, and if those of you who are only listening, he has a great voice, as you'll know. And if you're able to watch this as well, you can see what a visage he has. And he emanates joy, happiness, peace, and love. I'm going to give you 3 data points about Dawn, and then we're just going to jump right in, and he's going to share with you things that you want to share with other people, because that's really who he's all about. He is the founder and publisher of something called Successful Seniors Media. Now, when you hear seniors, those of you who are under 35, which is 88% of everybody listening, don't close down. Matter of fact, open up, because you know somebody who is one, and you will be one, God willing. So that's number one. Number two, he is talking about the T word. People, a lot of information in the world. On the internet, hello, it's too much almost. And inspiration, of course, it's great. However, it's like Chinese food, 2 hours later, you need more. Dawn is about the T word, transformation. And his mission is wonderful, becoming the best you. And that's what this show is all about. It's not about Dawn, not about Barry. It's about you becoming the best you possible. When you're the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love. So Dr. Don Coté, let's just jump right in and tell us, what is it about the Successful Seniors Media? What drove you to do this?
Well, probably about 30 plus years ago, I had a crash and burn, and I had been pretty successful in the 80s investing in real estate, and lost it all in the early 90s, and spent some time feeling sorry for myself, but that didn't seem to get me anywhere. So I went back to a guy who was an informal mentor of mine in my early days of real estate investing, and said, can you tell me how to get back on my feet? And he looked at me a little perplexed, because I hadn't talked to him in probably 4 or 5 years, and I invited him for a cup of coffee. So we hadn't seen each other for a while. And he said, have you ever read the book Think and Grow Rich? And I said, sure. And in 1979, I got involved in Amway, and that's the first book they give you to read. And I read it and put it down, and probably had something to do with my early success in real estate, but I sort of had forgotten about it. And so I said, yes, I had read it. And again, he looked perplexed and said, really, how many times? And I said, well, once. How many times do you have to read a book? And so now I'm a smarty pants and I'm broke. Not a good combination. He wasn't amused, but he said, you should read it again. All the answers you're looking for are in that book. And so, Barry, I did read it, and I read it again and again as he suggested, and got more and more frustrated, because what I was looking for, he was right. All the answers are in the book, but it was written as a philosophy of personal achievement. And I was looking for a step-by-step how-to. Couldn't find it in the book, and couldn't find it anywhere. So I actually created it.
Just one minute, put your pause. what you just said is so foundational and so important. I just want to emphasize it one more time.
Sure. Yeah.
What you were looking for, which is what 98.7% of the human population is, step by step. Hey, I
Yeah.
want to be a millionaire, a multi-millionaire. No, a billionaire. Give me my piece of paper and tell me what to do. As a contrast that to understand the philosophy. And by definition, it comes to you. You attract it. Am I right?
Yeah, I knew that so my brain said to me, he's right. All the answers are here. There's 13 magnificent principles in there. And I learned that what a principle is something that's always been true, is true now, always will be true, works for everybody and works all the time. And the principles were there, but I needed somebody to handhold me, and there was nobody to handhold me. So out of desperation, I'm from New England, we call it Yankee ingenuity. I just created a step-by-step system that had all the principles embedded in it. And I started getting my success back really quickly. Friends asked me how I was doing it. I showed them. Their friends asked how they were doing it. I showed them, and now thousands of people around the world have learned and used on a daily basis the system I created. But I didn't have a name for it at first. And in the very first workshop I did, someone asked me, "What do you call this thing?" And I said, "I don't know, man. It's just how life works." And as it turns out, the word LifeWorks just stuck. And so now it's called the LifeWorks Life Mastery System. And again, thousands of people around the world have used it. But I tried retiring a short time ago, and that didn't go well. I do several things well. Retire isn't one of them. I've tried it several times, and I get so bored. And so I thought to myself, now I'm 67. I wonder if I'm the only one that, at 67 still has ambition and still wants to make a difference in the world. And turns out my generation is not going has decided they're not going to age, and they're just going to keep getting younger, and they're going to keep putting out good in the world. But they need help with that, because what ends up happening, my research showed that. Go ahead, please. Jump right in, because I'll just keep right on talking.
No, this is wonderful. We want you to. I want people to understand. First of all, everything about Wonderful Dawn is in the show notes. You don't have to write anything down. He's speaking fast. I want to know about that. It's all in the show notes. You can get it. Again, the reason we do this, and it's recorded, is so you can go back, just like you said about the book, Think and Grow Rich. Go back, listen to this a second time. Now you can take notes because you control the time. Then listen a third time, and you'll begin to internalize, utilize, and leverage the genius that you're hearing, because he said these principles always have worked and will continue to work. By definition, they are true. And when you talk about life is a great acronym to understand. So living inspirationally for eternity. I'm going to tell you about the word retire and hand it back to you again. So I've been privileged to work with a number of people, highly successful on paper and all kinds of things. And mostly in their real life, and they come because they want to really get to the next level, even though now they're making hundreds of millions, but they want to go mad. Mad seems to make a difference. And here's what I teach them about retire. You ready? Now, you've been to, or you heard of the Indianapolis 500, right? If you ever go there, you have to put stuff in your ears and block them because the sound is so amazing. These remarkable, fast-moving cars running around a track. They come into the pit. What do they need to do? They need to change their tires. And in the course of 13 seconds, Don, a crew comes and goes, and you got a new set of Michelins. That's how I call retire. You just retired yourself with a brand new set of Michelins. So, Don Coté, take it away.
Ironically, my wife and I went to see the new movie F1 this past week. How ironic is that? Yeah, great movie, by the way. Yeah, Brad Pitt is Brad Pitt. He's just amazing.
Very good. So here you are now, understanding principles, getting back on your feet, because let's be blunt, the principles work.
Yeah.
As you say, life work. So now, why are you doing this for what we call seniors? Again, most people listening are under the age of 35. So for them to hear somebody 67 or 76 or 96 talk about wisdom and such, Actually, they're leaning in, they're listening because they want to be 67, 76, 96, 106. So tell us about successful seniors learning.
Well, what ended up happening was I was a bit frustrated, and that's always a good thing because it leads to breakthroughs, right? But I was a little frustrated that I was still having this ambition when I should be, I don't know, playing golf or some silly thing like that. So I started doing some research and found that so many seniors struggle to fight off dementia and depression, and they maybe lost a spouse because they're older, and now they don't know how to get back into the dating game or afraid to. Their health and fitness, their love and romance, and even some of them, during the 2008 crash, lost their 401k, became a 101k, and never made it back on their feet, or they lost a lot of money in 2014. There's been a lot of transfer of wealth in the last few decades, and so sometimes they're struggling with wealth and income. They don't have enough money to really retire, so they're greeters at Walmart and that sort of thing. So there were issues that I had been helping people with for 30 years. And I thought, well, what better thing to do with my senior years, my golden years, than to help other seniors with these kinds of struggles. So I was well equipped to be able to do it. And I searched around for a medium and found that the newsletter was the ideal medium for me. And I found a company called Beehive. And as it turns out, when you write a newsletter on their platform, they immediately turn it into a blog. So now you've got two channels out there. And then with the slide of a switch, you can actually turn it into a podcast, an audio version of a podcast. And now you're on Apple and Amazon and YouTube. And so I thought, well, rather than just write a newsletter, I'm going to call this a media company because I've got multiple channels to be able to get the message out. And it's been just a wonderful experience. I really enjoy the process, and I'm loving the feedback. I'm getting tremendous feedback where people are telling me daily that these tips that I'm giving them in the article, the deep dive article that I write every week, really makes a difference, and it's changing people's lives. So I feel very blessed.
Well, the ability to be blessed is because you are a blessing. You see, the active word is really the key to what we're talking about here, because action is the sign of a winner. Being blessed is wonderful. Being a blessing turns you into a cog. Now, a cog, people think of a small piece in a big machine. Cog stands for channel of goodness, child of God.
Wow.
That's who you are, Don Coté. Now, we have a sponsor that loves our show. We wouldn't have him on if we didn't think it's worth your time. Going to go a short break. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Don Coté will be here. The dawn is not leaving us.
Any business leader who has stood in front of potential investors can tell you, creating a vivid, compelling vision of the future can be the difference between bankruptcy and billions. If you can move people with words, you can practically will things into existence. Something that seems impossible can be made to seem inevitable. But not with bullet points, with a well-crafted and well-told story. I spent 30 years in advertising, creating stories for giant brands, universities, and governments, and changing people's hearts and minds. And over those years, I accumulated a treasure chest of insights about how to entertain and inspire and move people. And I think I can teach you. Can you think of a tool more powerful than human speech? See how your value changes when you start to master the oldest human art form.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. If you're good-looking, because you're always looking for and finding the good, we found good in abundance. Our cup runneth over with good. His name is Don Coté, and he is the channel of goodness for successful seniors. Everybody wants to be successful, and you do it by learning principles. And Don has not created, he's formulated the principles that enable you to live and be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Let's jump right in our remaining time in this segment and let's talk first about health and fitness, because people who are under the age of 35, which again is over 88% of our listening audience, by definition, they're already healthy and well and fit. They think they are. Unless, in fact, you are exercising every day and you're watching your diet, you're not. So let's leave that aside. People who are in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s need to know how to utilize good health and fitness ideas in these years when people are more prone to injury and other things. So give us, if you'd be so kind, 3 important vital tips when it comes to health and fitness for seniors.
Well, first of all, I'm grateful for a younger audience here, because good health and fitness in your senior years doesn't start in your senior years. It starts a lot earlier than that, and you can't start too early. So the foundation is built before you become a senior. Exercise. My wife came home one day, she was the wedding planner at Caesar's Palace when I married her 14 years ago. But about 9 years ago, she came home and she said, I think I want to change careers. And I said, I'll support you, honey. I was, again, trying to retire at that time. So I was waiting for her to retire so we could just travel. And she wasn't ready. She's much younger than I am. So she said, I think I want to be a personal trainer. And meanwhile, we were both pretty overweight at the time. And we just thought we were what my mother would call pleasantly plump. And and we were having trouble getting up the stairs without getting winded. So long story short, I said, she said she wanted to be a personal trainer. I said, I'll be your study buddy. And so we both became certified personal trainers. I lost 50 pounds. She lost 65 pounds. And she did a bikini contest at 54 years old. 65 pounds.
I'm loving it. I love 2 pieces here. Number one, and I think it was obviously exaggeration, you couldn't get up the stairs without being winded.
No, not an exaggeration. No.
Okay, and only because I've been blessed with a svelte body for most of my life. However, for your wife to be able to do one of the principles or 2 of the principles, and from Think and Go Rich, if you can conceive it and believe it, you can achieve it. So for someone to say, I'm going to be a personal trainer, and from the outside, her demeanor, her look was not that of somebody who was a personal trainer.
Exactly.
But in her mind, she was. And I think the message that you're giving and sharing with everybody is so fun, is so important. It's what you see who you are and will be. And when you internalize that, utilize and leverage it, guess what happens? That's who you are. Am I right?
Absolutely. It's interesting because your sponsor is about telling stories, and he started off by saying you have to have a vision. And so the 3-step process of LifeWorks is it's embarrassingly simple. We all know it. So I didn't invent or create anything. I just discovered it and shared it with people. The first thing you need to have is a vision, a crystal clear vision about what you want. Stephen Covey would say, start with the end in mind, right? So she saw herself as a personal trainer, as you said. And then the second step is to create a practical plan, a step-by-step plan. And if you execute the plan excellently, which is step 3, if you execute the plan excellently, you can't help but end up with the result. And so she did that, and so did I. And so now we're both in fairly good shape, and people often comment when they meet us, neither of us look our age, and we're told that all the time. And I think that's really because we do use the principles of fitness. So you asked, what are the 3 things? The first thing is, of course, what you put in your body. What you eat is what you become, right? So eating organically, sadly, the food in our supermarkets that are conventionally grown, there's no nutritional value in them whatsoever. You might get micronutrients.
We want to be specific. So number 1 is eat well, eat organically. Number 2,
exercise, but there's two kinds of exercise. You need to exercise your muscles. And strangely, what almost nobody knows, I've found out, is that when you exercise your muscles, you strengthen your bones. We all know that older people tend to fall and break a hip or something like that. If you want to prevent that, start in your 30s and 40s to do some weightlifting, resistance training. You have to be a bodybuilder, but you do need to strengthen your muscles, because bones get strengthened in proportion to muscle strength.
Very
And so
good. That's number two. Number three?
well, number two is two parts. That's the first part. You've got to do that. But cardiovascularly, you need to do something to increase your heart rate, increase your blood flow, and that also stimulates the mind as well. And if you've ever done running or anything like that, people often talk about the runner's high. Well, that's a real thing. Endorphins get sent into which are hormones, get sent into the bloodstream, and it just makes you happy and makes you think, and you get ideas. I always bring a pad of paper with me to write down ideas when I run.
All this, and we still do, aerobic exercise and anaerobic exercise. So you need both of those. And number three, eating well, two kinds of exercise. And number three?
Number three is really number one. It's mindset. You have to have the right mindset. You have to think positively. Here's a huge challenge. When I read Think and Grow Rich, we'll go right back to where that part of the story again. When I read Think and Grow Rich, and I read that quote at the end of chapter 1, where you just quoted, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. The problem is, I was thinking the belief part was in my conscious mind, and all your beliefs are in your subconscious mind. Think about the word subconscious, below the consciousness. So if it's below the consciousness, how the heck do you even know what it is, or what it is, or anything like that? So you've got to find a way to surface those beliefs, because your beliefs generate your actions, and your actions cause your results. And that's how life works.
Why am I laughing? By the way, first of all, everybody should know, laughter is one of the most important things you can do to live well in life. I mean, if you're not laughing every single day, I mean, tickle yourself if you have to, but just learn to laugh. Okay, so that's a lot of health.
Barry, there's scientific evidence to prove what you just said. I mean, this has been researched thoroughly, and laughter is truly the best medicine. It can cure almost anything.
Yes, well, I am living proof, but we'll talk about that. People who follow us know the Barry Shore story, so it's I'm a friend of Norman Cousins and all kinds of wonderful things.
Oh my goodness, Norman Cousins, wow.
Right, okay. These are inside baseball references. You can look them up. Again, everything is in the show notes. And I want to talk about you've talked about hope, and you alluded to it, and hope is a great acronym that stands for helping others progress every day. Dawn, that's what you do. Let's invest a few minutes here and talk about wealth and income for seniors. And again, give us 3 data points that really can say, I need to think about that.
Yeah, so many people have done okay and have a reasonable retirement income, and they're getting by. But most people never expected to just get by in their retirement. They expected to be able to travel the world and go out to dinner whenever they want at the 5-star restaurants, and they just didn't have enough to do that. And so by adding a few hundred or even a few $1,000s a month of extra income, they can actually finally do those things that they had expected to do and worked so hard to achieve when they were in their working years. And so number one is, it doesn't take much to be able to add a few hundred or a few thousand. It could take as little as 5 to 10 hours a week with the right plan to add $2,000 or $3,000. If you add $2,000, that's $24,000 a year. That's a lot of going out to dinner, right? And so it doesn't take much. And that's one of the things I specialize in, is helping people to be able to create that passive income, so they have the time now and the money in retirement to do what they want.
Okay, so everybody knows that one of the most important numbers in the world is pi. PI. It really stands for passive income. It's so important. It is the real foundation of building in the world. Let's have a couple of minutes before we conclude for love and romance. By the way, Dawn, I did create during the commercial an acronym for your name. May I tell you what it is?
Please.
Okay. Dawn, D-O-N, dynamic ongoing nurturing.
I love it, and quite apropos, I might say.
I think that's why I said it. I thought of you and it came out. Okay.
Yeah,
Talk about
amazing.
love and romance for seniors. Is it really possible? I mean, can you imagine somebody being 67 and being not just in love, infatuation, however, really love that is rooted and will go forth for a long time?
Well, I met my wife when I was in my 50s, and so I'm living proof that even after 50, there's hope. I had 2 practice marriages, ended up with a couple of beautiful, amazing children from the first marriage, so I don't regret either one. I learned so much from all the mistakes that I made. But I stayed single for about 7 years because what I determined is I was the common denominator in all the failed relationships, and I needed to figure out what was at the core of that. And what I learned is I needed to learn about me first. What my wife called when I met her, what my must-haves and my deal breakers were. And so that's what we call compatibility. And so she took 2 years to figure that out. She's smarter than I am. And I took 7 years to figure that out before we met each other. But the key really is compatibility. It doesn't mean being the same. It means fitting together like a hand and glove. A hand and a glove are opposites, actually. And people say opposites attract, right? And that to some extent is true. It maybe doesn't matter that you like the same kind of food when you go out or the same kind of music, but there are a handful of things at the core that must be the same. If she wants to have sex every day and you're okay with once a year, it's not going to work. If she's a saver and you're a spender, it's not going to work. Things like that. So you have to figure out what those core values are, make sure they match, and then enjoy the differences, and it works out.
This is just so uplifting, so inspirational. Again, everything about Don and what he's doing is in the show notes. And I'm loath to say these words. We come to a close on the time for now. And I have 3 quick questions for you, Don. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Number 1, will you come back again?
I'd be honored.
Whoa, thank you. Number 2, you only have 80 seconds to answer this question. Dr. Don Coté, what is your most fervent desire?
I want to leave something behind that lives on long after I'm here, long after I'm gone, that does good in the world every day.
And you're doing that. That's the beauty of it. That's what you're working.
Something that will last.
That's your goal. Thank you. And number 3, may I give you a hug in front of 517,122 people around the world?
Absolutely.
Okay, let me tell you what HUG stands for. Heartfelt, unlimited, giving. Are you ready, sir?
I am.
1,
certainly.
2, 3. And again, you're listening to Eye on Las Vegas with your humble host, Barry Shore, the ambassador of joy, wonderful Dr. Don Coté. Everything about him is in the show notes. You want to go there. And we're going to give you a blessing before we leave, because that's who we are. We give blessings. We're active people. Go forth. Live exuberantly. Spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference. Don, don't go away.